Hi, everybody. Good evening. I hope you can hear me. Welcome. Thank you for being here today. So before I go to talk about teamwork, and, that's the second 21st century skill that we're going to discuss. I hope you all remember what we talked about last week. We talked about, do you remember? Critical thinking skills is what we talked about. But before I got into it, I don't know how many of you know. Thank you for verifying that you can hear me. I'm not sure how many of you know or heard about when the JEE main and the NEET exams are going to be. So there was something that came out. It's not on the NTA website as of yet, but JEE main is going to be between the 19th and 23rd of July. Okay, so you have some time if that's an exam, grade 12 students, if you're planning to study or take. And NEET is on the 26th of July. Okay, so again, you have enough time. We're only on the 5th of May. You have a lot of time. We've been talking about study skills, and we're going to talk about note-taking skills in the next couple of days. So, put all of this. Now you have a goal to work towards, okay? So JEE main between the 19th and 23rd of July, NEET 26th of July. Apparently, the CBSE exams, we should know in the next couple of days. They're going to come out in about 2 days with what they have decided. But it's also going to be end of July, apparently. Now, JEE Advanced is in August sometime. So anyone taking JEE Advanced is in August, but everything else is going to be last week of July. So it's crunch time. You should start to study now. You got a month, you have almost 2.5 months or 1.5 months that you can, start to prepare for. So no excuses for doing badly. Okay. So I just wanted to give you that update, even though we did updates yesterday. Today, we're going to talk about teamwork, and I love teamwork. I don't know what it is, but I love working on teams. I don't know how many of you, can relate to what I'm saying. Even studying with a group of friends, like group study, I feel like I study so much better or come up with better ideas when you're working with other people as compared to just working on your own, okay? So what is teamwork? And I know everyone knows what teamwork is, but basically, it is actually the skill to work well with others. All right. It's the ability to get your point across and also to listen and understand what somebody else is trying to tell you. Okay. So it's just not about, so think about yourself. What kind of teams have you been in? Have you been on a team where you don't, necessarily like everybody? Have you been on a team where one person's always talking and saying it has to be my idea and I don't quite care about everyone else's idea? Anushka, we're talking about teamwork today. Okay. So you're going to have to ask your questions about teamwork. So that's basically what teamwork is. It's the skill to work well with others and also to get your point across and being able to understand what someone else is trying to tell you. Okay. So if you look at the employment world, if you look at what employers are looking for, and that's why it's important that you start to put it into practice. It's one of the most important skills, and you'll understand why when you look at the type of skills that you need in teamwork. Okay, so now what's happening, even with the COVID-19 happening, this pandemic, what has been happening and what is happening now are virtual teams. So once you all finish and you graduate and you go to college and you go to a place where you're working, you might have to have virtual meetings or team meetings with people all around the world, especially if you get a job with a multinational, company. You're going to have people from all over the world, and you're going to have to be okay with that. Okay, so working with people from different walks of life or everything is something that you need to learn how to put into practice. And a great way in order for you to do that is to work on a team. How virtual teams work is they communicate in a virtual environment using ICT tools like we're doing right now. Okay, so this really is not teamwork because only I'm talking. On a team, it should be everyone gets to talk, and maybe there will be a time where we can all get together and discuss ideas. Okay, soon. That's going to happen soon. Okay, so so a team just because a bunch of people get together doesn't make a team. right? You need time to get to know each other. You need to get to know each other's opinions, their backgrounds, maybe a little bit, their mindset. So it takes time. So if you are thinking of working on a team, or you're thinking of putting a project together on a team, it takes time to build a very powerful team. All right. So think about that. Think about yourself, like I've been saying. Have you had a good experience or a bad experience? Maybe you can share with some of us, if you had a bad experience, how did you overcome it? Sometimes what I've seen happen in school, even when I went to school long time ago, people want to be on a team with their friends. They don't want to be on a team with those not so cool people, okay? They want to be on a team where they know everybody, where they think all the smart people are on. But really, what you need to start to train yourself is to be ready, to be adaptable and flexible, to be on any team. You should be able to contribute on any team, okay? So try and make that effort, even though it's uncomfortable, even though you probably don't like someone on that team, you should make an effort so that in the future, when you go to a workplace, you know how to work with anybody. And everyone will be like, wow, it's amazing working with this person, because, they're okay to work with anybody. All right. So there are 5 skills that are needed for teamwork. Yes, actually, for teamwork skills, there are skills that you need. First is communication skills. Okay. So you need to be able to be clear about what you're trying to say. So being able to communicate verbally, even your body language, okay? Even when you're on a team, you're just not like, oh my gosh, I really don't want to be here. I don't know why I'm on this team. You don't have to say it. Sometimes your body language will show that, all right? So it's important that you are able to communicate with your body language, emotionally, intellectually, the kind of ideas that you give, not like, I don't care. I don't really care about this team. I don't care whether we come up with a solution. Basically, why teams are formed is to come up with solutions, okay, to a particular problem that they may be. So you need to be able to explain your ideas. You need to be able to listen. You need to be able to express what you're feeling. Like if you're frustrated that something's not working, you need to be able to say it in a nice way. You need to be able to sense other people's feelings. Like that person looks a little left out. What can I do in order to include them? What can I do in order to make them, oh, that person talks too much. How can I tell them, just to say what is needed, things like that. So to be able to communicate, to not start tension in a group. Don't get together with 2-3 people in your group and it's like, oh my gosh, look at those other people. Look at that idea, is so stupid. That's not what a good team player does. A team player brings everyone together. And also they're able to communicate and reflect. How did that project go? Is there anything better that we can do? That's what a good team player does first. Okay. Second, support skills. So you are able if you're a good team player, you're able to celebrate what other people have done on your team. You're just like, that's awesome. I love your idea. And I'm so glad you're getting recognition for it. Not like, oh my gosh, why are they talking only about that person? Why are they clapping their hands for that person? They didn't even do anything. Okay. Not that kind of attitude. So you really need to be able to celebrate other people's successes, but also be able to console someone who's failed. Not like, yeah, I told you so, you deserve it. None of that, okay? You need to be able to empathize, meaning you're able to put yourself in that person's shoes and say, I'm so sorry that you're going through this. How can I support you? So communication skills, support skills, and it's important to keep in mind you're trying to collaborate. You know what collaborate means? Coming together, putting all your heads together to come up with something is collaborate. You're not competing against your team. I have seen Varun just talked about football, but I have seen that. What a great example. What he said, I'm my school's football team captain. What can you do to unite your whole team and lift up the energy? I will tell you, maybe we can share some ideas, but I've seen that. Normally, like basketball, football, where these are team games, there'll always be one person who just totally wants to show off. Okay, they'll play this one-man game that they try to take the ball from one part of the field to another part. Don't be one of them. See who you can pass it to. See how you can, work together as a team, because eventually your success is a team success, not like, oh, just this one person did amazingly. Everyone contributes. All right. So you need to respect each other. You can't be disrespectful to anyone on your team. Third, of course, there's problem solving. So what you do as a good team player is assess the situation and you bring out like a positive outcome. That's what your role as a team player is, to look at what are we trying to solve here, whether it's a small project, whether it's football, whatever it might be. What are we trying to achieve here? We're trying to achieve success. We're trying to achieve a solution. So what can we do together? What is my role in holding this team together is something that you can think about. Okay, so that's the third one. Fourth one, listening. I know it's different from communication. Communication is being able to say clearly what you want, but what do we do also, which is very important, is to listen. All right. And feedback. So getting feedback or giving feedback. So many times we forget to listen because we're so excited about this project that we are part of, and we just like keep blabbering that we're not listening to what other people are saying. So take time to pay attention, be attentive to listen to what other people have to say. Varun, as captain, you should bring your team together and maybe they have ideas of what you can do together. It doesn't have to be related to football. You can do get together, have a Zoom call, get together one evening and chat about what you guys have been doing. You can work on being a stronger team even off the field. Okay, and all it takes is just a little bit of effort for you as captain, because you are technically the team leader, which you play a way more important role, and we're just going to be talking about that. So listen, pay attention. If you don't understand something, clarify. Don't just say, oh my gosh, what are they trying to say, and sit and talk in your groups. Clarify with the person who came up with a solution or an idea. Okay, take interest in other people's problems. You need to be invested in what you are doing, whether it's small or big. I have learned that in so many different ways. I've had to work on teams for the longest time. I went to boarding school, so we always did everything in teams. You had to be on a team with people you necessarily didn't like, but it's taught me amazing life skills, right? Working with people that may not be exactly like me, the mindset like me, who don't achieve as much as me. That's okay. They're also contributing in their own way, and that's what you need to look at. So be genuine when you're listening to somebody, when you're caring for somebody, when you're, trying to clarify, not like laughing. It's like, oh my gosh, okay, fine, you had this idea, but it's a little bit stupid, but okay, fine, tell me about it. That's not the attitude you should have. You should say, hey, can you explain a little bit more about what's going through your mind? What's your thought process? That's what you need to do, okay? So even giving feedback, you be careful of the words that you are using. No using negative things. Use constructive things, saying, hey, I really like your idea, but maybe we can try something else, or how about this? And you should be ready to take feedback too. Somebody could be telling you that, and it's like, you can't say, well, it's none of your business. This is, my part, and I'm just going to do what I want. We can't have that kind of attitude. You have to be ready to listen to what other people are saying. I work in a place where I work with people who are super much younger than me. But if they correct me with regards to something that I'm doing, I have to take that correction because they're doing it for the benefit of everybody, not to take a hit on me. They're telling me because they know what they're talking about, they experience. So if they say, yeah, that idea is not necessarily going to work, I will listen to them. I can't say, you know what, I'm double your age, so therefore just listen to me. Never works that way. It cannot work that way. I'll take take your question, Aranish, and also Neerav, okay? And fifth is conflict management skills. You know what conflict means? When people are fighting with each other. So you don't start a fight, first of all. You don't be like a fire starter and start a conflict. You need to be somebody who mends a conflict, okay? So it basically what it says is when you look at in the employment world, if you have conflict management skills, it can either make or break you. So it's really important that you control your anger. Okay, even now, it's something that I have to learn how to do. It doesn't matter whether you're an adult or whether you're a teenager. We really need to learn how to control our anger. Don't let it get out of hand and get the better of you. So be careful. Try and bring people together. Don't break people apart. And that's what a good team player does. Okay. So communication skills, support skills, problem solving skills, listening skills, and conflict management skills. Now, when we talk about team players, there's also another very important aspect that you need to keep in mind, which are you could be put in a position of being team leader. Okay, what that means is that when you look at what it's going to be like, they don't want somebody who's sitting in a hierarchy, someone sitting right on top and saying, hey, you do this, you do this, you do this, like delegating. A team leader is part of the team. Okay, they want everyone's opinion before they come up with the best strategy that they're looking for. So you need to keep in mind that as a team leader, you might have that opportunity to be a team leader. You need to make sure that everyone's opinion is taken. And it's so difficult, especially if you're working on a team where, say you're working on a team with like 10 people and 3 of those people are like your besties. Chances are you're going to keep going to them and asking them what to do, but that's not how you do it. You have to listen to everybody. It's a joint effort. So there are 3 main things that a team leader needs to keep in mind. Okay, most important tasks. First of all, motivating team members. So Varun, great question. That already shows that you are a really good team leader because you're already asking questions of what can I do to motivate my team? You're thinking of ideas. I love that. Okay. So first, you as a team leader, you need to motivate your team, not bring them down, build them up. That's what you need to do. Second, you need to encourage communication within team members. So maybe put people in groups that they don't necessarily know each other or getting to know each other. You have to improve that communication. As team leader doesn't mean you have to talk the entire time. Okay, you give other people a chance, you share their ideas, you put them in groups and say, yeah, you know what, you go, you take the wheel, you take control, you do what you need to because I trust you. That's what you do as team manager. Okay, and third, you provide feedback saying, hey, I love what you're doing, but maybe this is what we can do better. As a team, maybe this is a strategy that we can try better. Okay, so you really are saying, I love that all of you are part of my team. I love working as a team leader on this particular team, but we can do better. You're always motivating them to do better. So be clear as a team manager of your objective. What are you trying to achieve? Some team managers have no idea. You're on a team and they're like, you know what, do whatever you want. I really don't care. That's not what a team manager is. They have clear goals. They have clear responsibilities for people, including for themselves. And it's a joint effort all the time. So start putting this into practice. Girls and boys, if you're listening, very important that you start to put some of this teamwork into. Even now, have a virtual team. Talk about something. Talk about maybe a project you can start in your school. How amazing would that be, right? Something that you can, develop, a common interest that you all have. Something that you can do in your school, an idea that you could present to your principal, something, a group project, sports, we've talked about that. Maybe start a new club. I've had kids who've started like a robotics club or a chess club or like a poetry reading club. There's so many different things that you can do, but it's important to find people who have the same objective as you. Now, some of us have this mindset, you know what, I'll never be a team leader because team leaders are for those popular ones, okay? The ones who talk all the time, they're very social, they're confident to stand in front of people. But you need to, if you are reserved and you're quiet, it really doesn't matter, because what you're doing as someone who's quiet, you're listening. You're reflecting. You have ideas yourself. So don't stop yourself from being a team leader. Okay. So extroverts, of course, they mix with everyone. They're okay to express themselves verbally. But an introvert or someone who's reserved is able to listen. They're able to empathize better. So everyone has a very strong skill. So it's something that can be mastered by everybody. It doesn't mean we're born with teamwork skills. Okay, it's everything that we put into practice. I learned how to be on a team by going to boarding school, by playing basketball, by doing Western music, by being part of the drama club. Everything that was remotely team-based, I was part of, because that's the kind of person that I am, that I love. And I put that into practice and have had opportunities to be a team leader and a team player. So it's important that this is a skill that you learn. It's a lifelong skill. You need to fine-tune it. You can improve it, and you develop it through experience. So by the time you get ready to go out into the workplace, you're an amazing team player and a team leader. Okay, so keep those in mind. These are some things that you need it's a definitely an important skill that you know about. I'm going to start taking some of these questions. I don't know, my mind is reeling with teamwork, because I love teamwork and I think it's so important, and some of you are asking me such good questions. So then let me just start to take some of these questions. Okay, all right, let's see. So, ma'am, Varun, we already talked about it, right? So start to, get your team together already before. I know y'all are not in school, but just have ideas of, how you can get your team together, maybe y'all can watch like an old match, like a classic match, like a World Cup match together, you know what I mean? And come back and talk about it, or talk about how y'all can practice on your own, like how you practice at home on your own, and then come back and talk about it. So just keep in touch with your team. It's very, very important as captain, and be positive all the time. Okay. So Neerav, what to do if someone dominates the weaker ones? I've seen it happen so many times. So some of us who talk so much more tend to dominate the others, but it's really important to be aware. So Neerav, if you are not the one who's dominating and you're one of the weaker ones, maybe you can say, hey, you know what, can I have a chance to speak because I have an idea? So put your hand up, or if you observe that on a team, you can ask the person who's dominating to say, hey, let's listen to everybody's idea, and then we can, take a consensus on what would work best. Okay. So speak up. Very important to speak up. And if the person is not allowing you to speak up, then obviously they have no teamwork or team player skills. Okay. They're not being a good team player. Okay. What other questions do we have? What do I do on a team if someone tries to press you and make you? What is it? Oh, so Arnish, you mean someone's purposely trying to fail you? Is that what you mean? That they're trying to make you fall down? Like they're trying to pressure you and make you fall down, as in not be successful? So I don't know, Arnish, if there are other people on your team, they should know you, right? So they should be able to support you. Now, it depends. If it's in a school, at some point, you can take it to the higher authorities if it's affecting you too much. If it's really affecting you emotionally, then you have to report it. But ideally, you should be able to, sort your own problems out. That's what the whole conflict management comes up. You should go up to that person and say, hey, I'm not sure, and be nice about how you're saying it. Like, not, what the hell do you think you're doing? Not any of that, or how dare you try to push me down, none of that. Just like, hey, I've been seeing that you're trying to pull me down every time I'm trying to say something. Is there a problem? Is there an issue? What is the issue? Can we sort it out? Have a conversation with them, talk to them, be open and say, this is how I'm feeling. Is it just me, or are you purposely trying to do something, and try and resolve the issue? Okay. So Riza, you're asking really good. As a team, do we need to keep in mind the emotions of members as well while taking a decision? I think so. Not to a certain extent, like, oh my gosh, if we decide on this, is that other person going to cry? Like, not that kind of emotions, but be sensitive. So when you take a decision as a team, you need to back it up with reason. You're just not like, hey, this is the smartest person on the team, so we'll just go with their idea. That's not how you decide on what finally to do. You need to listen to everyone, especially if you're team manager. You need to kind of weigh out all the different options that they've given you. You can do a combination of all the ideas, or you can say, hey, I think this idea is going to work because reason 1, 2, 3, and give them substantial reason for why you think that would work. Okay, and I think I don't think you'd hurt anyone in terms of that, because that's not, you can't afford to take anything personal on a team. If it's a project where you are doing it individually, yes, then yes, I can understand if people are going to be sensitive, but not if it's teamwork. Okay, Vandana, you're asking how to deal with the situation where you're cornered by rest of the team members and mostly targeted on purpose. Miss Vandana, okay, my kid deals with this situation daily in her class. She has figured out on her own ways how to deal with it, but mostly, of course, I can't even imagine. So that's obviously not teamwork. That is something that would affect her extremely negatively. I don't know if you have addressed it with the teachers. So even how I look at it, and I have dealt with this in the school that I was working at before, where I have seen children who are kind of cornered and left out. What we would do as teachers is, try and have meals with them, sit with them, keep them company. But even if they have that one friend in their class, that's all they need in order to survive, So try and instill in her that if she can even find just one person, if there are 5 people against her, but there's one person on her side, hold on to that one person, because that's what life is also like, right? So teach her that it's not everyone will probably going to like you. It's okay. She doesn't need to feel drained trying to fit in. She doesn't need to do any of that. You need to make her recognize that the other people are at loss because of not having the opportunity of getting to know her. Okay, so just try and just every day try and bring out the positive of her school experience than focus on the negative that she's probably going through with her schoolmates. What to do when the leader hurts someone because of losing the match? Anushka, as a team player, you should actually talk to the leader. I mean, what do you mean, like physically hurting somebody or with their words? Because obviously they're not a good leader if they've done if they've hurt anyone. And I think as a team player, you should tell the leader, you know what you did was not appropriate. You owed that person an apology. You should be able to voice. Don't be afraid to voice your opinion. You should be able to say what you feel, because you are feeling the sentiment of that other person who got hurt. That's what you're doing. That's what a good team player does. You're empathizing, you're feeling, you're supporting that other person. And what you also can do is support the person who got hurt. You should be there for them, saying, you know what happened in that match does not define you, and that's okay. So you need to talk to the team leader and say what you did was not appropriate, and talk to the team player who got hurt and try and console them and just motivate them a little bit. And that's what you would be doing as a fantastic team player. Okay. In my daughter's class, one girl, even after motivating her, she feels left out and keeps on abusing my daughter and complaining to the teacher without any fault. So Mr. Neerav, there's only to a certain extent that we can control other people, but what we can do is control ourselves, right? So maybe what your daughter can do, I'm sensing, I think she's in grade 10, right? What she can do is maybe as much as possible stay away from this girl, because it sounds like no matter what your daughter does, she's going to be blamed for different things. So if she can... So yeah, she just needs to, again, like I told Miss Vandana, just find that small group of friends that she has and just stick with those, at least till this year is over. Hopefully in grade 11, there will be new people coming. But I know running away is not a solution. She can actually, if she's okay, to voice out to that girl, whoever is hurting her, saying, you know what, you need to stop. I'm not friends with you. I have nothing to do with you. So please, I'm asking you to just leave me alone. I will just continue with my school. You please do what you need to, and we can be in two separate spaces of this classroom. We don't even have to interact with each other. So maybe she can voice that out. And if the teacher is neutral, ideally the teacher should be neutral, will be able to empathize with your daughter too. But I always tell people, you know what, even if somebody is treating you not in an unhealthy way, you voice it out. But if they're still continuing, then you need to just stay away from their path. That's what you do. Okay. But that's what we do in workplaces also. We keep it professional, right? I'm sure, Mr. Nirav, you work with people that you probably may not get along with, right? But we are cordial, we're professional, and that's it. We leave it there. And so she leaves it at school and not brings it home with her. Okay. Komal, you're asking how to be a good and positive leader. So I did talk about 3 main tasks that you need to keep in mind, Komal. You motivate your team members. So you'll sense, like, I feel like Varun, for example, talked about, I don't know you, Varun, but I feel like you'd make a great captain, you know, because here's someone who's wanting to motivate his team, even during this pandemic or, you know, this lockdown that we're going through. So be motivational, even with what you do, even with your own actions. You need to motivate your team. You need to encourage your team to communicate. Not everyone keeps quiet when you're like, okay, listen, we need to come up with a plan, and everyone's like, well, you're the leader, you decide. It's not like that. Everyone needs to have ideas. And so you need to get them to a place of where they know that you trust them, you respect them, and you're willing to listen to their ideas. I think that's so important. And third, you also give feedback as a good team leader, but nicely, in a constructive way. Okay, not like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that you shared that idea because it's really stupid. Never putting anyone down, but always building them up. What can we do when the community rejects someone as a team leader? Eva, that's a hard one. Why not you be a team player first? Okay. In your community, say, fine, I don't want to be a leader. I want to prove myself as being a good team player. And then maybe you can gain their trust, because trust is also important. Trust and respect is just so important. And so, you be a good team player. Say, I don't want to be a leader. I just want to be part of this community, and I want to contribute in whatever way I can. And then they see you, they get to know you. Like I said, you remember, putting together a team, it takes time, because people don't know each other. People don't know what your potential is as a team player or as a team leader. So you need to not prove yourself. They need to get to know you first, and then maybe you'll have the chance to be a team leader. Okay. So take it slow. It takes time. All right. Okay. How can we deal with uncooperative members of a team? So I think communication is important. Just saying, I don't know what you mean by uncooperative, but I know. I've worked with people who do nothing on a team. See, the thing with teams or teamwork is that, you know, there are some times when everyone does equal, but there are other times when like 2 or 3 people will do everything and then the rest do nothing. Okay, but the victory is everybody's, and it's so unfair, right? Because you have been toiling day and night in order to get this project or the solution together. You've come out victorious. Everybody loves it. Great ideas, but you and maybe a couple of other people were the only ones working. So for the uncooperative ones, I've normally done, and what works, you give them smaller roles to do, saying, hey, it doesn't look like you're really interested or vested in this project or being on part of this team. So here's something small that you can do. And really at the end of a particular project, as a team leader, if you are a team leader, Ria, you need to acknowledge everyone's role in what they did. Okay, because the ones that actually did a lot should be acknowledged. I feel the ones who were uncooperative but still did some work, you're still giving them, acknowledging them, saying, you know what, I know you really didn't want to be part of this team, but I'm thankful for that little part that you did of writing the title, whatever it might be that they did. Okay, but we're bound to have some uncooperatives on teams all the time. That's how teams work, and trust me, get ready for it. Even when you go to college, even when you go into the workplace, workplace may not. I haven't had any like such bad experiences. There'll be people with strong opinions and they just don't want to go with your idea because they think it's dumb. But you just get over it, because at the end, it's only that end solution. You're trying to solve a problem. And that's what you need to keep your eyes on, and keep your eyes on the ones that are cooperative. Okay. Ma'am, how do you deal with jealous people? Hriday, is this a relationship question or a teamwork question? Not sure what to make of it. There's always going to be jealous people. I think it's something that's innate in everybody. From a very young age, we have that, thing of being jealous. So it depends. Your context is really, I'm not sure what context you're talking to me. Is it with regards to relationships? Is it with regards to you being team leader? Is it with regards to you being smart? If somebody is jealous, it's not your issue. You just have to be controlling of your own jealousy for other people's lives or whatever it might be. Okay. So you can't control, like I said, you can't control other people, but you can control yourself. So if you want to talk to me more about that, just write into me and then I'll be happy to talk to you. Okay. Abhit, you're asking if our friends are in a group and their decisions are good, but not as better as compared to others. So should we consider their decision, or if not, combat such situation? So I feel like sometimes you may not agree with the decision that's been taken because you feel like, oh my gosh, there are way better ideas than this. But if it's working for the most amount of people, yeah, you can say, you know what, should we give that other idea a chance also? You can. But if they're still adamant in going with it, then you have to be respectful and just go with it. It might just work. It may not be the best idea. It may be longer than the other ideas that you have, longer process, but that's okay. That's what a team. You're just accepting of what your team leader has decided and majority of your team has decided, and that's okay. Okay. Sheetal, you're asking how to express your ideas continuously without coming off as dominating. So the word here is continuously. So you don't feel the need to share your ideas continuously. Okay. Maybe it's okay to let it go once in a way. So giving other people a chance to talk, maybe for other people to have an idea, to share their ideas. If no one comes up with an idea and it sounds like you always have an idea, then share. If someone has an idea that you don't think will work, then you can say, you know what, I also have an idea. This is what we can probably put these together and combine it. So always make it sound like it's collaborative, that you're putting it together, not being competitive. Okay. So it's okay. Some people will obviously, if you are louder than everybody else, like myself, people will obviously think you're dominating, but that's okay. You're not being dominating. You're just trying to share an idea, but maybe don't be the first one to put your hand up every time someone says, hey, do you have an idea? Let other people talk, give them a chance, and then you can share. So then people don't think like you're dominating everything. Okay. I'm sure you have fantastic ideas though. Okay, Tamanna, how to support your team members emotionally. So I have seen this especially in the world of sports, especially when there's a loss. My daughter was captain of the football team, so I've had to console her, and she's had to console her team members, especially when they lost a match. And it takes a lot, you have to be emotionally strong yourself if you are a team leader, to just bring out the positives. That's the idea of a team leader, you bring out the positives and say how amazingly, it's not about winning or losing, it's about all that effort that was put in, and people in time will get over it. Okay, so which also means you kind of need to be emotionally strong. I've watched matches where the captain has cried the most, not my daughter, but like basketball, like a guy's basketball team, and it's the captain who's wailing like, you know, the world has come to an end. And it's like, it's okay, it's just a basketball tournament, and sometimes failures are good. It's a good lesson for you to learn. And so you kind of have to come up with the positives and support them emotionally, you know, and doesn't mean you always have to support them emotionally, as and when it is necessary. Okay. If Sunita, if other team members do not support actually, but show the readiness to earn brownie points, and also if the leader agitates, then all blame is on the leader. How to deal? So that's what I'm saying. So Sunita, I mean, as a team leader, you know, it's important, you know, people's strengths. Like I said, I've been saying it a couple of times. It takes time to put together a team. And if you are the team leader, you need to kind of assess whose strength is what. Okay, that's very important for you to find out. Once you find that out, you will delegate, or you'll say, hey, how about you do this and you do this and you do this. So you give everyone a role based on their strengths. And that's how, because I know what you mean. If something is not done, then it's blamed on you as a team leader. But that's okay. You know what? Just they will show readiness, yeah, to get brownie points, but show that they can prove their work. You have to say, hey, if I don't see your work, then we can't acknowledge how you've been part of this team. So you've got to contribute in some way or the other. Because she feels lonely, is it a good choice? Akanksha, yeah. So I've been in hostel life for quite a while myself. I have seen people. So if your friend is lonely, leaving is not the solution, because she's going to go somewhere else and be lonely again. But how about, she may not have a best friend, but maybe she has friends, you know, and maybe her friends need to make a little bit more effort of making her feel warm and welcome, making her feel like, you know, it's called sense of belonging, that she belongs, okay, that she's worth something, that you all enjoy her company. So leaving won't take away the loneliness, because she could go to another place and be lonely there too and not make any friends. So teach her maybe how to mingle with the friends that she has now, and maybe you as her friend may have to make a little bit more of an effort in order to make her feel a little bit more comfortable, so that she doesn't have to leave. Okay. Kirti, I know what you mean, how to deal with people who constantly create hurdles while working in a group. You need to talk to them and say, what is your problem? I mean, is there something that's bugging you? Why are you doing this? Why are you making this? We're trying to solve a problem. We're not trying to create more problems. So if you are a team leader, then you need to be taking control of that situation and say, you know what, can we talk about it? How can I help you? So don't talk about it in front of everybody. Pick out that person who's causing a hurdle and say, how can I help you? How can we solve this problem that you are, you know, constantly talking about? So you work with them one-to-one, okay? And then they'll be like, okay, I really don't have an issue, okay? So Amrita, how can you deal with that one person who's self-centered and tries to approach the leader? So you have to make sure that the leader is a good enough leader, a powerful leader, a strong leader, a leader who's neutral, who doesn't take any sides. Now, if this leader is, you know, actually going and talking to this, that's not healthy. So you should actually bring it up with the leader saying, hey, I think it's important that you listen to everyone's opinion, and there's a process that we need to, you've put a process in place of how we need to be approaching you. Can we follow that process for everybody? So you don't have to take any names. You can just remind the leader saying, hey, I thought that this was the process in order to come to you, but don't pinpoint a finger at anybody saying, can you let us know what the process is, because I see this is what has been happening. So, you know, try and clear out clarity, because sometimes the the team leader might forget what the process is. And so it's important that you clarify for yourself. So if people don't listen to your opinion, so you should actually, Eva, talk to the team leader. It depends who these people are. Are they ignoring you every time you have an idea, or is it just sometimes? Because sometimes people may not take your idea. I share ideas all the time and people are like, yeah, okay, keep moving, and that's okay. But it's you don't take it personal. You know what I mean? You just make sure that how you communicated your idea was effective and they understood what you're trying to say. And if they don't take your idea, that's fine. Just make sure that you are supportive of whatever idea. Don't just say, oh, I don't support any of these ideas just because your idea wasn't taken. But always feel free. You should feel secure in a team to share your ideas. That's the starting point. Do you feel secure in your team? That maybe ask yourself that question. So Vandana, how do you involve people not interested to be active members? So that's why as a team member, as a team leader, you need to find out people's skills. So if someone gave me a skill of working out the equations in a project, right? Or figuring out or doing all the calculations or doing the accounts, I'd hate it because I don't like numbers. But I love to put presentations together. I love to present. I love to be creative. I love to draw. I love to, so as my team leader should know, hey, that's her strength. So the task I give her will be based on her skills and her interest. So a person who's on a team and not interested, the thing that you need to find out is what would they like to do? How would you like to contribute? What would be the one thing that you would love to do? And you find that out and give it to them. And I'm telling you, they will do it. Trust me, I've worked with enough teams for that. Okay. So Ria, it's the same. How do you motivate? We've just been talking about that. The same way, find out what they would love to do. And if they say, you know what, I really don't like any of this, it's like, well, you know what, this is what's been assigned. Unfortunately, we have to work on it. And that's how we have to get ready for the real world also. We may not like everything that we do, every task that's given to us, but we make being a good team player means that you will go above and beyond what is expected of you. Okay. So say you really don't have a choice. You're going to have to work on it. You can pick any of these. Have a list of things that they can pick out. You pick one and it's yours. You can do it. Okay. So that's the way you go about it. Param, conflicts are inevitable. It's going to happen. But you need to be able to sort it out. So very important that you're neutral. Means you don't take either side. You're objective. So you listen to both sides. And you give feedback with regards to what you've listened and then say, listen, this is your perspective. I've listened to you. This is your perspective. I've listened to you. This is what needs to happen. And you bring them together. I know easier said than done. It'll take a lot of time. But the minute you start taking sides, the conflict is just going to get worse. Okay, so try and be objective. Have no side. Even if it's one friend, you know one person more than the other, you don't do that. Okay. How can an introverted person support Utkarsh? We talked about this. So what you can do is you can listen. Okay, and then you can say, hey, I've been listening to these ideas and this is what I feel. So you can reflect on what you've been listening to. You can also be empathetic. So if you feel like somebody's left out on a team, there's conflict that's happening and you need to talk to two people who are fighting with each other, an introvert would be really good to do that because your listening skills are really good. You're able to empathize, you're able to reflect, you can bring people together. Okay, so you may not necessarily share an idea sitting in a group, but you're able to support your group in other ways. Okay, all right. So I'm going to take last two questions. What can we do as a team leader if the people in the team are fighting and arguing over personal issues and not cooperative? So you need to tell them. So that's why it's so important that you be clear on the objective of the team. Why do you have a team? Is it to sort out personal issues? No. It's not. And say, listen, I know you guys don't like each other. I can see it. Everyone can see it. You'll have your own issues and that's your problem. But you need to set that aside. So you need to be firm as a team leader. So honey, you need to be like, you know what, when we're part of this team, everyone is equal. We're going to have to work together. Everyone's got a responsibility. The minute you leave this team, you can do whatever you want. You deal with your personal issues there. But when we are part of this team, we have to work. This is the end objective that we need to get to, and everyone needs to put their heads together to get to that. That's it. And you be firm. That's what you need to do. And you be supportive of them. Make sure that you're there to support all of them, even through their conflict. So make sure the minute something like a conflict arises, you need to cut it, because as a leader, you have the power to do that. Okay. How do you deal with someone who pokes every time, as in makes fun of everyone? What do you mean by pokes? I'm not sure what you mean, but you need to just make sure, Hriday, that you talk to them and say, hey, talk about how it makes you feel. Use I statements, not like, hey, you're a really mean person. That's not what you say. You say, when you do that, it actually hurts me. Or, when you're poking fun at me, or when you're poking fun at somebody else, it hurts them. So you need to stop right now. Okay, it'll be good if you can stop. Or how would you like it if someone poked you all the time or poked fun at you all the time? Would you be okay? So don't let them. It's a lot of times people act in negative ways for everybody. I'm saying this because as a team leader and as a team, you enable them to do it. So don't enable them to do that. Okay, all right. Kids, thank you for all your wonderful compliments. You're very, very sweet. Thank you very much. Okay. Komal, your job as a team member, a team player or team leader is not to satisfy everyone. They're not there, on holiday. They're there to accomplish something. So your end result is to get that accomplished. Your end result is not to satisfy everybody. You need to be neutral. You need to be strong in what you say, and you say it with the right words. Okay, you say it firm, assertive, not aggressive. Like everyone's stupid on this team, I'm the only one who's amazing. No, saying I'm so appreciative. I respect everyone on this team. This is what we need to achieve. Let's get to it. I need to see how it's going to work towards that. Don't be worried about satisfying everyone. The worst thing that you can do. Okay. Is communication create a problem for team leader? No. Communication is important, but I'm not sure what your question means, but you need to be clear in your communication. Okay? You can't be like, well, we are together as a team and I am the team leader, but I'm not sure what we're supposed to achieve. You need to be clear. You need to get to know your team. You need to know what their strengths are, what their interests are. You will allot if you want. You can say, hey, I see that you're not too motivated to be on this team. That's okay. But I'm giving you something that you love to do. Okay. And here it is. I want to see it by whatever. All right. And have people always sharing ideas and answers with you. Okay. All right. Okay. Everybody, thank you very much for being here. Thank you for all your lovely positive comments. And I hope to see you all tomorrow. We have a very special guest who is going to be talking about online classes and how you can cope, some ideas. Parents, Mr. Neerav and Ms. Vandana, some of you who've been here every day, who've been so supportive. Thank you for your kind words. Please come tomorrow because she's going to be sharing ideas for parents and for students. Bring other parents on, bring other students on. It's only for half an hour, 45 minutes. So we'll see you tomorrow. Okay. See you, everybody. Bye-bye. Thank you.